All right, welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac Podcast here on 1010XL's podcast platform at 1010XL.com. Of course, 1010XL, the app, and we are also live on Facebook on 1010XL's Facebook page and mine as well. Great to be here. Great to be alive. Happy Suck It Up Tuesday. Listen, it's a work day. I know it's the Players' Day off, but for us fans, us people, we got to work today. It's all right. It'll be over before you know it. Next thing you know, it's Wednesday, and then we move on, and you know how it goes with football kicking off on Thursdays now. So welcome into the show, brought to you by Team Tommy Mac. I love them all, man. They're fabulous, and we're going to add some as well. There's a little more room for people if you want to jump on board. But Chris Lucero's Bail Bonds, J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling, Azar Sausage, The Carpet Man Flooring, of course, and the Truck Accident Law Firm, and Meat 55. Thanks for coming out to the event last night. I tell you what, it's the best meat you'll have. Cleanest, best. You got to check it out. Make sure you like that Facebook page. Meat 55. And, of course, I'm here in the 1010 XL studios. All right. So, which, by the way, great content that they offer all throughout. You got Baloo, you got Campo, you got Joe C., you got Hayes, you got Hammer and Hank. Hank, I guess, like Hammer and Hayes. You know, you got Hack, you got Danny, you got them all. Frank and Dan, they're all doing something. Now you see Prosser doing stuff too. So all with the 1010XL podcast platform and digital platform. Of course, you see me O'Brien all over the place too. So everybody getting it in on that digital side. All right, let's get into your Jaguars beat the Colts 31-21. By the way, if you remember, I called 33-21. I just felt like, again, our defense, I couldn't count on them. Now, with that being said, like, when I read you the stats, you're going to be like, wow, they really dominated. And they did at times. There's no doubt about it. But when you watch the eye test, you're like, I mean, did you think Anthony Richardson would have any success other than running the football? I mean, I didn't really know what to expect. But he did. He had a little bit. He started crumbling, though. That's one thing you saw from him. Mid-third quarter, towards the end, he was crapping out, man. You could tell. It was, and even at the very, very end, he whips off that thing and tries to take the game into his own hands, of course. A great hit. Was that by Cisco? I believe it was. That knocked him out of the game. Nothing wrong with that. And then Minshew comes in, and they can't get it together at all. So, look, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't. It was sloppy, to be honest, which was kind of odd coming from Doug. And more on the offensive side, coming from a Doug Peterson offense. I wouldn't expect them. I think I even said that on Friday. I didn't expect them to be sloppy at all, but they were a little bit. Now, look, it's game one, so you don't get too carried away, right? Like Doug said, you got to clean some stuff up. But they came together at the right time. They did. Now, the defense did their job. They shut them down. They had no running game. They had Anthony Richardson here and there making plays with his legs, with his feet. You know, he made some good throws. I thought he looked okay for a young guy that hasn't started that much major football and his first NFL start. But, you know, we let him hang around. I mean, we did. We did. So I did see this. 12 passing first downs for the Colts. 12 of them. That's interesting to me, especially with Anthony Richardson at the helm. But again, he was fine. Look, I think it was sloppy, but then they come together. Like, look at the offensive line. The offensive line struggled. They were struggling. Now, granted, that defensive front's pretty good. DeForest Buckner's really good. Kitty Pay, that guy at Quiddy Pay, he comes off the Quiddy Pay comes off the edge really nice. I mean, he's got some capabilities there. Grover, that tandem, Buckner and Grover, look, they held their own, held us to 3 yards a carry, although that's misleading because Etienne had a nice day overall. Although if you take away his 26-yarder, which you can't, his yards per carry comes down. We're going to go through it like I always do. For those of you that are new to the show, after every game, I'll take the Jags and I'll take their opponent, and we'll go over some stats. Of course, the score, yards per carry, yards per attempt with the completion percentage. Very important. What does that mean? Well, 7, 8, 9 yards per attempt means what? Throwing the ball down the field. A 5, 6 or less, you're dumping the ball off. You know what I mean? So there's a big difference. You can, look, 5 yards per attempt, and I got 80% completion percentage. I'm not that impressed. You know what I mean? You got to find that happy medium. We'll go down that. Third down, fourth down. It's amazing to me. Fourth down. The Colts went for it 5 times on fourth down. 5. It's the norm. I mean, it's why punt if you don't have to? Why kick the field goal when you can maybe get the first down? We see it here on our side. They went for it 5 times. We went for it 3. Sacks, interceptions, and then the new one is red zone, which the Jags were perfect, 3 of 3. So we'll get into all of that, of course, as we break down this Jaguar game. A look around the NFL real quick. Man, what a shame about Aaron Rodgers. I mean, come on. That's why it's a brutal game. Now, that field we all know it needs to be checked. Dwayne Smoot got hurt up there. J-Rob, our old running back, got hurt up there. Achilles injury, same field, same turf, I believe. I mean, what is going on with that? We got to figure something out there. Gosh, it was so awesome. You know, I mean, it was so great. The tribute to 9/11. Rodgers with the flag. He's their leader. He's coming out. The hype, the everything, and gone. Poof, gone. Now we'll find out official word. I haven't heard yet. But they're thinking Achilles, man. That's just, that's not good for an older guy. You know, I remember Marino coming out with his Achilles, man. He could barely walk. That guy could throw like he was young, but unbelievable. Just sad, man. I don't want anyone getting hurt. I want to, whoever I play, I want full strength. You know, I do. Now, at the end of the day, if we win because they're not, I don't care. We still win or won. So I get that, and I'm a believer in that. But when I'm playing, I want their best, man. Mano y mano, let's go. A-team versus A-team. So that's what I want to see. So too bad for Rodgers. Hey, I made a comment on social media too. The interview not right after, but why this interview with coaches on the sideline, like your star player just is gone, like poof. And I got to speak to a reporter to tell him how I'm feeling. I mean, do you really want to know how I'm feeling? That just bothers me. Like, come on. What is this? World Wrestling Federation, Days of Our Lives, like a soap opera? No, it's a football game, for crying out loud. I thought that was a little tacky, but nonetheless, Aaron Rodgers, he's probably, what a shame, man. What a shame. Done for the year. We'll find out. And, what do you do? What would you do if you're the Jets? Would you go try to get one of these guys out of retirement? I'm not just saying Brady, but would you go after Brady? Would you go after Phil? Maybe see if Rivers wants to come out? Big Ben? I don't know. I mean, Ben really tapered off at the end. He doesn't have the arm maybe anymore, but do you check him out? I don't know. Or do you ride with Zach Wilson? And granted, that O-line sucks. And I'm not talking about the Jets all show, but I'm just saying, like, what do you do there? We're gonna have to figure that one out quick. All right, around the AFC South, everybody's 0-1 except who? That's right, our Duval Jacksonville Jaguars 1-0 to start the year. Again, not pretty, but we'll take it. 31 points. Great job by the offense once they got it consistently going together. We'll break it down. Buffalo, KC, Cincinnati, all 0-1. What the hell happened to Cincinnati? I mean, no disrespect. Yeah, Myles Garrett's unbelievable. That defense is interesting for the Browns, no doubt. They get after it, but, man, Joe Burrow just signs the deal and then plays like that. Oh, I would be so mad. I'd be so mad. You know what? Maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you should cut it off at camp. Like, that's a distraction maybe. I don't know. $275 million, what do you get guaranteed? 219.01, something like that. Millions, you distract. Maybe you're distracted. I don't know, but that was awful. He threw for like 80 yards. He was terrible. But okay, good for us. I don't care. 0-1. KC, we saw 0-1. Buffalo, still overtime. Hey, congrats to our friend Brant Boyer, special teams coach for the New York Jets. Wow, that was pretty cool. Walk-off punt return for a touchdown. Pretty badass, man. No doubt about that. Baltimore and the 49ers all want to know. The reason why, I'm going to keep an eye on those five. Now, my ADD might kick in at times. All right, so if I forget, maybe I'll ask Graham to remind me. He'll be in the studio in just a minute. But I want to follow those big five: Buffalo, KC, Cincy, Baltimore, and the 49ers. 49ers crushing Pitt because we have to play them, because the Jags have to play them. And to me, yeah, I love the Colts win. You need it. Division, conference, first game of the year, on the road, showed some grit, showed some resolve, came together at the right time, and I'll talk about what I mean by that, to be 1-0. But how you do against these top five is going to be interesting, right? You got to win 3, I think, at least. Wouldn't it be great to go 4-1? Who are you going to lose to? Buffalo didn't look good. Josh Allen didn't look good. I'm not expecting him to look bad all year long, but he did not look good. They just weren't in sync. And again, week 1, you can't get too carried away one way or the other. It's nice that you could say, okay, despite our faults, despite our, lack of timing, lack of good play calling, whatever, we won. And if if you're the Chiefs, everyone's like, oh, look at that loss. I'm sitting there going, well, wait a minute. If I'm the Chiefs, I lost by 1 to a pretty darn good team. They're a good team. Detroit's going to beat some people. They'll probably be in the NFC playoffs if they stay healthy. Maybe not win the division, but as a wild card, I bet you they get in or have a shot to be one of the top 7 in the NFC. So they're a team that goes into KC and wins. Great victory. But KC without Chris Jones, who now will be back, Travis Kelce, who I think will be back, 2 of the top players in the game. You're off a little bit. You're sitting there going, well, okay, for a game we played bad in, we fared okay. Just like the Jags. I mean, look, winning is a cure-all. You won by 10. You could have won by more, no doubt about it, but whatever. It is what it is. And they scored once on defense, right? So your defense even played better than the score would indicate. So that it does matter, right? How you lose and how you win in that first week, but you don't let it's not going to dictate that much, right? I was listening to Jeff and Dan here on 1010XL in the morning talking about Christian Kirk. Is he being, moved out? Like, are they not going to use him as much? Because he only had 1 catch for 9 yards. I think he only played like 40% of the snaps, but how about this? Maybe because they're more in zone, that inside guy, that slot guy, the number one defense you want is a slot receiver's man with no help behind. That's what you're looking for, and that's what the coordinator's looking for. I can flush everybody out and let Christian Kirk work the magic on a safety or a nickel or maybe even a linebacker. So that's when you're going to see more of Christian. I bet you see a lot more of him against the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, I do have to tell, look, the defense played well. Defense kept them in the game. Now, it wasn't always great. I thought a little too many first downs. Okay, whatever. A first game for them as well. But they were great on 3rd down. They were even better on 4th down. I got to give credit where credit's due. That's a big stat. It's a big stat. It states you either get off the field, right, or you don't. You give that ball back to your offense or you don't. They did that plenty. I got to give them credit without question there. On 3rd down, the Colts were 2 for 12. 2 for 12. That's great for our defense. They were 1 of 5 on 4th down. Phenomenal. I mean, that's playing some damn good defense right there. Good enough to win defense without question. Let's see. We had 4 sacks. We had a pick, turnover +1. Very good. Very good. So they held them to 2.5 yards per carry. Huge. They didn't have a running game. They didn't have anything. And who was the guy? He lost so much confidence. He kept fumbling. I mean, I would never play him. I think he fumbled twice. I don't care whose fault. That's bad juju. You gotta hang on to that rock. But nonetheless, we shut them down. Our defensive front came to play, and we controlled the line of scrimmage. It was great. They were great on 3rd down. Josh Allen, great man. That guy's hustling now. It's 3 sacks. So for him, he's like, I don't care how I get them. They're 3, and I agree with that. But they weren't great pass rushes. They were him hustling, which is great. And he ran him out of bounds twice. So that's just, I don't know. It's still a sack. It's behind the line of scrimmage. It's listed as a sack. I want to see more of him in the backfield, right? Big week this week. He should eat up Jawan Taylor, I would imagine. They both know each other, like in and out. I mean, it was like they just, now it's game speed, though. Now it's game speed. We'll talk about that later on in the week on a Friday. But he played well. Josh Allen played well. Trayvon Walker played well. The Aluakin played phenomenal. He is a phenomenal player. I'm telling you right now, that guy, Foye Aluakin, is playing some outstanding ball. And he had an outstanding camp, too. He was all over the place. The guy is just so smooth. But overall defense, good job. Again, 12 passing first down, so I don't like that. But overall, that's kind of nitpicky. Hey, good warm-up, right? That's like your warm-up song. And now you got to, come home and take on the Chiefs. So before we get in any more of this show, let's welcome Grammage to the show. How you doing, producer?
Good morning, sir. Fantastic.
How you doing?
Fantastic.
You got double duty. You got Dan and Frank. You got the catching up crew.
On this side of the hall, I got a Jags pod. On the other side of the hall, I got a Gator pod.
Oh, geez, so there you go.
We're pulling all the weight over here, but that's all right.
Who did Gators beat? The Little Sisters of the Poor, something like that. Some little
McNeese.
McNeese.
What you know about McNeese?
Alabama.
Louisiana.
Sorry, McNeese. I was kidding.
There,
I know you. That's solid. It's solid.
Or as they said on there, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Louisiana.
BC barely beat Holy Cross, so I got nothing to even, and lost to NIU in overtime, so I got nothing.
Jose Flowers anymore?
No, there's nothing. Yeah. They got nothing. They're already switching quarterbacks. It's like crazy, and then Florida State's coming to town. They're going to kill them. They're going to absolutely ring them up, and they should. They should. But nonetheless, we'll talk pro ball on this. Overall thoughts, pretty good. Sloppy. Came together at the right time. Ended up with a W. Let's take it, learn from it, and move on. What do you think?
Yes. Really quickly, because I when I first walked in, I heard you talking about it. Foye Aluakin, oh my God. He doesn't make a ton of sexy plays, so I think here he is appreciated properly. And it was probably similar when he was in Atlanta. But nationally, I don't think fans in Seattle are sitting here talking about how good Foye Aluakin is, but man, he's one of the best linebackers in football.
He's one of the best tackling linebackers, and he can cover fairly well. Pretty well.
Cover.
Yeah, so he just does. They don't send him enough. I would send him more. I would if I'm Mike Caldwell. I would, but he's a tackling machine. That guy. Look, the best linebackers. Yeah, you need speed, you need all that athleticism, you need strength and size, but the best ones have the best instincts. They just find the ball. It comes natural to them to be around the ball. He's always around the football, if not making the tackle.
And correct me if I'm wrong on this, because you know this better than me, considering you played the position in the league. For me as a fan, when I'm watching a game, I want my outside backers to be freak athletes making plays. I want my inside backers to be incredibly reliable all the time. Making the right play. They don't miss tackles.
Right.
If
physical.
They stop the play as quickly as it can be stopped. You know, if it could be a 2-yard gain or a 4-yard gain, it's a 2-yard gain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I do. I do.
I don't know if I'm generalizing too much there, but kind of when I see that's kind of what I just remember that 17 defense. I had just this rock in the middle in Posluszny that just did everything.
Right.
And then I had freak athletes and Miles Jack and Telvin Smith making plays.
Right. Well, your outside backers should be and normally are more athletic than your inside guys. Not always, of course. The great ones could go anywhere, right? But yeah, there's some truth to that. You definitely want guys that know how to play the position. You can't just throw an athlete in at the mic and think that he's going to figure out Mike. If he's never played Mike, if he doesn't know how to read, it's hard. It's not. There's a lot of muck. A lot of stuff to get through, because they're big stuff, globs of stuff.
Right.
It's everywhere. They're like coming to get you. You got to get through there
stuff,
and then still make the tackle. You know what I mean? So, but no. And look, Lloyd played okay. He was a little inconsistent. He had some good plays. The penalty. That was a weak penalty.
Horrible penalty.
I mean, what are we doing?
Something that has to be.
Can we just play football?
I don't know if it's the language of the rule or they need to add some kind of amendment to it or what, but there's got to be something because what they're calling is the helmet-to-helmet contact, right? That's why they're calling the penalty, which I understand in principle, whatever, but something has to be adjusted and counted for when the offensive player is in a certain position and then ducks at the last second.
Right.
and the defensive player is in a position to make a good midsection tackle where they want you to hit.
Right.
And then the offensive player ducks and you end up hitting their helmet. That's not a defender's fault, and that's not a dirty play.
Right.
Also, how come everything is just blanketed as 15 yards?
Well, we've talked about this before.
Makes no sense.
We're having deja vu because we talked about
Right.
that inadvertent helmet to helmet. That's what we're talking about. That should be 5 yards. Fine. Hit heads, okay. It's not like he buried his head down to get you. You know, you just happen to hit heads, inadvertent. Fine, 5 yard penalty, not automatic first down.
That's
now,
ridiculous.
You lower your head into their face. Yeah, that's a different penalty.
And we've also talked about this on this show before, as well. That like the language of things is where it can be tough because it's hard to put into words what you want to see and don't want to see. But anybody watching a football game that knows anything about football knows when they see a dirty hit and when they don't.
Right, a deliberate dirty hit.
We all know.
Right, yeah.
Everyone, when they see a dirty hit, they go, ooh.
There's probably 5% where it's, you can't really tell. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's like, maybe bad intentions, but not, following through with ducking your head and
the language of the rule and the refs trying to make it as black and white as possible is where the gray area comes, right?
Yep.
Like not like, well, technically in the language of the rule,
that's
what
what
the hit. We all know it's not a dirty hit. Like that's where it becomes difficult.
That's why the rule needs to change.
It's the same thing with a catch.
Yeah,
a catch is the exact same way.
Yep.
We all know a catch when we see a catch.
Oh yeah.
But
we saw a catch from Zay Jones in the corner of the end zone, baby. That was sick. That was an unbelievable play.
That throw and catch, man.
That's
did
dynamite.
That not feel like Mark Brunell throwing a Keenan McCardell on that play?
Listen, I don't know what it felt like, but that was an unbelievable throw and an unbelievable catch, without a doubt. Zay Jones, we've been talking about him all camp. He's had a great camp. Came in a little bit bigger, fast, you talk about reliable. That guy's reliable, man. But big time.
Call me out on this if this is too far, because I'm not calling him the same player. I'm just saying, kind of reminds me.
Yep.
He reminds me a lot of Keenan McCardell. And I'm not calling him Keenan. I'm just saying in terms of really reliable. I know where he's going to be.
Yeah.
That type of.
Keenan's more like Kirk to me.
Okay,
because
I can see that.
Zay can fly. Keenan couldn't fly. He could run. Keenan was fast enough, but he wasn't Jimmy. Jimmy was the speedster. Keenan was the tough the tough short yardage over the middle, one-on-one. Great slot. I mean, great slot and number two. But no, great job there. Look, let's switch it to the offense because, aside from like maybe the last 10 minutes, our offensive line was getting worked. I mean, they were, and granted, you're going against good players. You may not. I know we look at the Colts like, they're not. We talked about a few of the players. Well, the players we talked about all had big games. One guy we didn't talk about, who's an incredible linebacker. You talk about an instinctive linebacker. Zaire Franklin, number 44 for the Colts, is a great linebacker. I mean, that guy can make plays all over the place, and made one of the biggest ones of the game, where Tank didn't really understand what was going on. Nobody did. I don't know. I don't know what the lesson is there. Like, hey, man, if you get the ball, just drop or run or something. Don't just stand. I don't know, but obviously we thought it was a dead ball play, and it wasn't.
There is a lesson there for Tank that he's learned the hard way, I'm sure.
Yep.
But, people saying on Twitter and stuff like, what an idiot. You're so stupid. It's like, bro, everyone was just standing around. Tank's not the only one.
No, right. Even the Colt players were standing around. They didn't know what the deal was.
Like, Tank's going to get the flag for it because he had the football.
Right.
And you're right. Zaire Franklin made a really smart play to not tackle him and just punch it out of his hand.
Phenomenal play.
Smart play. But, like, I thought it was more one guy making a heads-up play in terms of, as opposed to another guy making a boneheaded play. Tank wasn't being some idiot. Everybody else was standing around too.
Right. And, the whistle is just a quick whistle. It's not like they, elongate the whistle.
Right.
And with that noise, you don't hear the whistle a lot. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you would think they would be like, no, it's dead ball. Like, it's but it maybe, because it wasn't. It was a fumble. So maybe whether you thought you heard the whistle or not, what do they say? Play to the whistle. What if you hear the whistle?
Right.
What if you don't hear? You know what I mean? Like, so I don't look. That was a fluke kind of play. The offense came together. Tank, nice job on the touchdown run. ETN, great job on your run. But our offensive line, man, we need a little more production out of you guys, a little more consistency. Look, Trevor made some unbelievable throws, including the one to Zay Jones. He also made some not so good throws, but again, that's nitpicky. We're going to take the victory. But look, even the pick, that was a bad throw to Tank. Was it Tank? I think it was Tank.
Yeah, but Tank's got to catch that ball.
Yeah, it was just a high terror. It was a bad throw. It wasn't a good throw.
Kind of my opinion on that was I didn't think the interception was his fault. But he also got lucky later on. Remember the Colts DB dropped a pick that was basically right in his hands.
Yep.
So it kind of counteracted. In my opinion, it's like the interception that counts wasn't really your fault, but you also got away with one later.
Yeah,
so.
And we got 3 and out right after the pick that Trevor. We did. I think we shut him down pretty quick.
I think it was 4 and out. Actually.
Was it 4 and out?
They went for it on
1 and 5. Great
stuff.
job, our defense on 4th down, man. You shut them down.
Defense had a hell of a game.
They did,
man.
Got to give them a lot of credit. Great game plan and great job.
We gave them 7 points.
Yeah,
they had 7 points defensively, obviously.
Right.
Their offense didn't do anything.
No, but
special.
I thought Richardson had more production than I thought he was going to have. I didn't expect him. He was okay.
He did early.
He did. He did. He started going downhill
his
like
second
third
half
quarter.
Was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was.
And he would do that a lot at Florida.
Yeah,
he would play well.
Yeah.
When it's kind of the whole. You've said this a bunch of times in this podcast. It's kind of the whole everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth type of thing.
Yeah.
With him, it's the football equivalent of he can play well until he's down.
Right.
Well, he's a classic example of when you're losing and you got to make up some plays and throw it down the field and really kind of Patrick Mahomes and offense together and get it into the end zone.
Yep.
That's when he struggles, man. When he's got to consistently complete 10, 15-yard balls time and time again, he struggles, man.
I think he learned, too, that, in college you might be able to, just take the game over and try to run it in. The pros, it's a little different. He got whacked on that last one. He's lucky he wasn't really seriously hurt.
You see what Trevor told him after the game?
No.
After the game, apparently some reporter, I guess, caught. I don't know if one of them said this in their post game or whatever. Someone caught it somehow.
Yeah.
When they met and shook hands stuff at the end of the game, Trevor was like, "Hey man, great game. You're an incredible player, but take care of yourself.
You're gonna get hurt.
Be careful.
Even though you're a big guy, you still can get hurt."
And Trevor's right. I mean, dude, you can't run if he plays like that every single game.
Yeah.
I bet he wouldn't last till midseason.
No.
Right?
You can't take those shots.
I don't want to speak that into existence.
No, I know.
Knock on wood. I hope he stays healthy all year, but you get what I mean.
I do.
Dude.
It's too much.
You just got to be smarter than that.
It's too much. There's no doubt about that. Trevor's throw to Calvin was unbelievable. I mean, across his body, the way he can square his shoulders and still whip it, go in the opposite direction and whip it. I mean, he heaved it in there. Ridley was great in the first half. I think, it's funny that the one deep out where Ridley kind of just stopped and turned around, it didn't feel like it was I felt like he might have ran the wrong route at the top of it, right? So it was just, the one thing about Ridley we heard during camp, they love him. He's phenomenal. But there's sometimes he'll go rogue on a route. He'll do a little thing on his own type thing. And Trevor's like, hey, I'm cool as long as he tells me what he's doing. And they completed the pass. It was a great pass. But he didn't have a big second half. He kind of, I don't know, he had a great first half. I love him on the team. I think Zay Jones he may be I tell you, I don't want to call it now too early, but he's like an MVP type player to me. He's just somebody that when you need a play, a big play, he's going to make it. It's like I used to, not big plays, but a guy who would always make a catch. At least it felt like it was Marvin Jones Jr. I'm not talking big plays, but on third down when you needed a reception,
a really
he would catch it. Zay to me is like when you need a big play, he's going to make it. He's got hands like that. He's got speed like that. He's got size. That's a tough matchup for a lot of DBs.
Remember last year against the Ravens, they had that 4th and 9 or whatever that they had to get?
Yep.
And Marvin caught that first down.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very similar to when they went for it Although a little different because if they didn't get that in the Ravens game, they lose. But that was still, you really, really needed that fourth down. Zay came up huge,
He's been big, and let's be honest, when they first signed him, we're like, what? You're giving Zay Jones $10 million a year, whatever? You're like, all right, well, okay. And because Kirk got the big deal, nobody really thought that much about Zay, but there were plenty of people that are like, I don't know.
And then the narrative was that the Jags just went and signed a bunch of wide receiver 2s and 3s and paid them like they're 1s.
He's special.
What the hell are they doing? And now look up, you got
great scouting. That's
Trevor's
great
got
scouting.
Some of the best weapons in the NFL. He might have the best top-to-bottom cast of weapons in the NFL.
Oh, man, they're loaded. They're loaded. Think about this. 2 of the receivers that made the team, like, they're not always going to suit. They didn't even suit up. I mean, Parker was Elijah and Parker, they were in street clothes, man. It's interesting. I heard Jeff and Dan talking about, Kirk not getting a lot of snaps and not, one catch. But when a team plays zone, that slot receiver, it's tough because if they read it right, they're just going to sit in the zone and wait for you to come to them. Man-to-man is when Kirk can do a lot of damage. When he's got zero help, no safety right there in the box. One-on-one with either the nickel or the safety or whatever, that's when Christian Kirk becomes a problem for people. So I think you're going to see more of him against the Chiefs. And remember, he had some big moments against the Chiefs, had the one drop, but had some really good moments against the Chiefs. So I would expect to see him get more targets this week.
And by the way, Trevor has historically in his career so far has struggled against which type of defense? It's been zone, right? Mm-hmm. Man, he's played better games. Zone is when he struggled.
Yep.
That's a defense that plays nothing but zone.
Yep.
And he played really, really well. And you're exactly right. And also, I think it's just the math of the fact that there's one football and there's a lot of mouths to feed on this offense.
Yeah.
There's going to be – I was wrong. I predicted – I thought there was going to be – that this past week was going to be a Christian Kirk week, and I was clearly wrong. But there will be a Christian Kirk week.
Yep. Oh, without a doubt.
Where maybe Calvin only has a catch or 2.
Yep.
There will be a Zay Jones week where the rest of the crew doesn't do all that much. There's going to be an Evan Ingram week where the receivers don't do a ton. There's going to be an ETN week where they're just running really well.
Right.
And that's what a great offense does.
Yeah.
A great offense doesn't care.
Can adapt.
A great offense doesn't care who's eating as long as somebody's eating.
Right.
Because that means we're scoring points.
Yeah.
And then if the defense adjusts to him, all right, somebody else.
Well, a great offense, Grammage, also closes games out, and they close that out. It was a little sketchy when they were down 21-17. Like, oh, my gosh, like, really? Like, come on. And then it started Agnew's return was huge.
That's the play of the game.
What a weapon.
Agnew's return is –
guy. I love that guy, man.
But
the reverse, you got to watch the reverse. It's being over – you know what I mean? Get him in a route. Get him if you can. You know what I mean? I had 3 touches on offense, right? They had 3. One was that reverse, and they were right there. It was like – because if he comes in and he's near the line of scrimmage or he motions in, what do you think it is a defense? Reverse?
You need him in.
You know what I mean?
I felt like they did a better job of this in the back half of the year last year, which made him more effective.
Yep.
They need him in more often when he's not getting the football.
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
Agreed. Yeah.
Because you're exactly right. It makes it too obvious.
Yeah, you just know what's probably going to happen. If he does this or this, he's probably going to do that,
Remember
How about the jet sweep from the running back position? I'd like to see more of that.
Yeah, me too.
He's got the wheels for that one.
100%.
Yeah,
and
fun.
I mean, remember...
A great weapon.
Remember when Corey Grant was in Jacksonville?
Yeah.
And it was always the same thing. Yep. Fans were, why didn't Corey Grant get the ball more? Corey Grant, more touches, more. But it was the same thing. It's like they would specifically draw stuff up for him, and they would just put him in for that play.
Right.
And it's like, well, who does the defense think the ball's going to?
Yeah.
It becomes obvious. So, but last year, I feel like Agnew was in just on regular plays a lot.
Yeah, and he probably will. I mean, look, again, you add Ridley, so that means,
That's true.
You got to
figure
that out. Remember last year early, Agnew was lining up number 3 in the slot, and they sent him deep. Remember, they would do that. So I'd like to see a little bit more of that, but with Ridley coming in. All right, so let's just real quick look at the offense. Yards per carry, 3.0. I know ETN had 4.3. one of those, I think he had 77 total. One of them was 26. I think prior to that, he was getting bottled up. Schultz, I love him. I think he's a great weapon. Overall, he had a good game, though. I'm not trying to take away from that whatsoever. Third down was terrible. You were 3 of 12 on third down. You're not going to beat the Chiefs going 3 of 12, so that's got to be better. That's 25% of the 75% of the time you're giving the ball back to the other team.
And what was especially
which isn't good.
What was especially frustrating about it, I'm sure you felt the same way that I did, was we've talked about on this podcast that usually if you are succeeding a lot on third down, that means you're getting into third and manageable.
Right.
And you're playing third and threes, you're not playing third and 12s.
Right.
The Jags were getting in third and twos and
third
threes.
Third and 5, third and 6, third and 4. Yep.
And there were a lot of third and twos and threes that they were not succeeding. And that's frustrating.
Yep.
That's when you, like, I'm not crazy. Like, I don't get, like, crazy upset or anything.
Yep.
I don't do that. But that's when I'm, like, wanting to find something to hit. I'm like, God, man. Like, come on. Like, there's too many weapons on this offense for 2 yards to not be automatic, man.
Yeah.
And it got really predictable, too.
Yeah, they did.
Everybody I was watching the game with knew they were going to run it right up the middle and it was going to get stuffed with Tank Bigsby.
Yep.
The Tank, kind of like Agnew, it was a little bit too obvious when they'd put him in the game, I felt like. Because you'd have ETN on normal plays, and then short yardage, here comes Tank. It's like, they're trying to shove it. They're trying to run it down your throat with Tank. It becomes obvious.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Let's see. They only gave up 2 sacks, so that's not terrible. Overall, they came back. I thought the last 10 minutes or so, the O-line did okay. Did enough to help win the game and close it out. Trevor, he's awesome, man. He's going to continue to get better. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch. There's no doubt about that, but let's be honest, this offense as a whole has to play better against the Chiefs. By the way, Chiefs signed Chris Jones, 1-year deal. What do you get for the money? Did you see the money? I didn't see the money.
Let me do some research.
I'm sure it's like $28 million or $30 million because that's what he wanted per year, so maybe they just gave him 1 year with it. They rip up the contract, I guess, and give him a 1-year deal. But look, he's a beast. He's a beast, and they've got good players. They got good linebackers. They got good DBs. This Chiefs defense is pretty tough. Our offensive line has to play better. Well, Brandon Sheriff, man, that was a scare. Sheriff going down like that. Oh, it's like, oh, my gosh. Look, Shatley can come in and handle it. There's no doubt, but Sheriff's one of the best guards in the league when he's healthy, and hopefully he can bounce back. What do we got?
I got 1 year worth up to $25 million. Base of 19.5.
Okay.
So I think the extra like 6 is in incentives.
Okay.
And a lot of it's based on.
I thought he wanted like 28 a year. When he wanted to be just under Aaron Donald.
I think he agreed to
take this for now, and we'll do something later.
Well, I think also the Chiefs called his bluff a little bit too.
Yeah.
He sat out the first game, and they said, "All right, keep sitting out if you want."
Yeah.
And he said, "No, I'd rather get paid."
Yeah.
Because he missed. He's not going to get paid for week 1 because he didn't play.
They need him.
Oh, 100%.
They need him. He's a beast of a player.
And most of the incentive things because Chris Jones plays nearly every significant snap for them, right? He doesn't come off the field a whole lot.
He does not come off the field.
He's
one of the elite defensive linemen in the league.
Some of the incentives I saw are like relatively easy incentives to hit. It's like play 50% of the snaps.
Yeah, he's got that by halftime.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's the point. So
if
like
not more.
The incentive seemed relatively easy for him to reach, barring injury or something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like that's probably.
I would think Kelsey plays too, but we'll see. I hope he does. I want him full speed. I do. I want to see where we look. We know we feel really good about the division, no doubt. Feel very good overall, no question. But those big 5, which I want to keep an eye on, that we play, Kansas City being the first one up. Buffalo, Cincy, Baltimore, and the 49ers killing Pittsburgh. Killing them. They're going to be tough. And that Purdy, man, he's pretty impressive coming off the injury. It looked like he's no problem getting it done. But those 5 are critical in a Super Bowl run, in my opinion. Right? You got to do pretty well against those 5 that we have to play. Win 3 at least. You'd love 4. But you got to win at least 3. Can you knock off the Kansas City Chiefs? We'll look at it Friday. We'll break it down and get into it. Look, they're going to be Everybody's going to be ready. We're going to be ready. They're going to be ready. The place is going to be rocking. It's going to feel like a playoff game. Congratulations to the entire city, the fans, the organization, because it is going to be an incredible environment to take on the Chiefs, and it's our home opener. So we got a lot to play for. And, we know our players love our coach. Well, our coach against Andy Reid hasn't fared too well. So why don't you change that? Great week of preparation it's going to take. No doubt about that. All right, Grammage, great job, my man.
Yes, sir.
We'll wrap this one up here on a Tuesday. Get to work. I got to get to work. I got a lot of work to get into. No doubt today we'll be back on Friday. Horse's Mouth on Thursday. Jaguars today, Friday morning. Catching up Friday right after. And the Dad Pods Friday night at Iggy's Patio, out on the patio in Fruit Cove. Come and join us, man. We are looking forward to rocking you all Friday night. So going to be a great week. Hope you have a great week as well. Until next time, stay safe out there and be cool. And we'll catch you right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mack. Peace.